everyone. Welcome to Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with
Oberon.
And me, Banshee. And it is Banshee with my Material Matters segment. Your weekly keys to success in business, education, and finance.
And I'm the special guest star.
And we have an interloper today, I was about to say.
Where is Sunny coming? What? Oh.
That's it. Call him and make it so, number one.
Oh, look, there he is now.
Why did you do that?
It's not him.
Why? Anyway, welcome to the show. So, as you know, we are doing the elemental signs of the Zodiac, your material outlook for the week of January 3 to 9, and the moon is going to be traveling from Virgo through Sagittarius, actually. At first I thought it was Scorpio, but on Saturday it switches up to Sagittarius. So also for Aries and Mars-based people, we have Mars moving into Taurus finally on January 6th after its kind of lengthy stint in Aries because it went retrograde and all of that.
So try to have a happy new year anyway.
Well, I think Taurus is pretty good for me.
I'm teasing.
I'm just saying. But anyway, we do start out with an oracle for the collective. And so today I'm using my brand spanking new gift from a friend, the Urban Crow Guide Oracle. This is the guidebook for it. That's created by MJ Cullinane. It is a beautiful deck. And it is an oracle deck, so we will use it to start the show. And since I have a guest star today, I will have Mr. O pick the card for us.
Who, me?
Well, because it was the holidays, we start on each other's shows.
We start on each other's nerves, too.
Maybe. Oh... Anyway.
Gotcha.
And to think I am now retired and home all the time.
The quippy banter.
Wait a minute. I was home most of the time anyway because I worked from home. Okay, Mr. O, pick our card for the collective. Ooh, it's grief. Well, I think this is an appropriate card in a way. I don't know about for business, but in a way it is. Let's see. For anyone who has seen or experienced a crow funeral, it is apparent that crows make time to grieve. It is essential to allow yourself time to feel sadness for a loss, honor the memory, and express your emotions. Healing begins the moment you confront the source of your pain. So whatever the grief is, whatever the pain is, I should say, make sure you take time to experience that. And, because without that, you really can't move on. And that's what we have for you, the collective today, kind of a somber note. But right now, with the COVID numbers climbing, it is kind of a somber time. And January is looking grim, and we should all kind of take to heart, what's happening right now, and never forget the people we've lost. So we're going to move on to our elemental signs of the Zodiac, and we start with the air signs, Mr. O, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. This reading is going to be for you. Well, let's hope it's good things to start the new year. This is the first week, the first full reading of the new year, so let's just hope we are all doing well.
And yesterday and today, we dropped our two-part 2021 predictions. The first part was world predictions, and then today we dropped the USA America predictions. So check that out. Check that out. We hope you like that. We also used the Urban Crow Oracle in those readings too, and I think you might be interested in those. So check them out.
Okay. Let's see what we have for you, air signs. Your focus for the week ahead. Okay. It's the Emperor. And the Emperor's upright. And so I get the feeling, air signs, that we are going to be in control this week, in command. You know, it's back to work for a lot of us after a long weekend, and it seems to me that it's time to get organized, to attend to details, to, delegate work, etc., to staff, and make sure everybody's on the same page at this start of the week after all the holidays.
You just read my mind, because I was thinking of what will I say, and then I was thinking of, well, a true emperor knows how to delegate, and then almost right after that you said it. So you don't leave me a lot to say there, but basically the emperor should not necessarily be the person doing all the task work, although they need to be responsible and control of it. So use all your emperor powers to make it so.
To make it so. And so how will you best prepare for this focus for this week ahead? Okay, we have the Nine of Pentacles, and it's reversed. Do you want to go first, Mr. O, on my show?
How to prepare for the week ahead. Well, I think possibly the idea is that maybe you should not take what may seem like right now your comfort and your trappings and surroundings at face value. I think that you should always understand that, what you have worked for and achieved for always needs to be maintained in some level. So to me, I'm going to look at this as a card of maintenance for you, as guidance for you. The idea that you should always be aware of what your surroundings are that they have and what work needs to be done to maintain your emperor status, amongst other things.
Wow, I think that's really good, Mr. O, and that's a really good take on that. I guess I was kind of looking at it in relation to the way things are right now. Things are not normal. Things are kind of uncomfortable, but this is, the new normal for now. And so, I know we're not happy about it. We're not comfortable with it. But so I think the way to, prepare for this focus and organize is to realize we are operating under these different times, and so you have to plan accordingly. You have to delegate accordingly. You have to manage your resources accordingly, whether we like conditions right now or not.
Expect some shifting grounds.
So, your interactions with others in the material world, will they be helpful, hurtful, or, well?
Sounds like a martini lunch, eh? The Two of Cups.
If we can find restaurants that are open. But here's the thing. I think that what this basically means is partnerships can be formed this week. Positive relationships, networking, all of, air signs, communication. You guys are good at that. Looks really good. I don't want to throw out the idea, nudge, nudge, that there could be a little office romances going on.
What is this position again?
It's how others, it's with others, connecting with others.
So basically this would just be saying is whether or not they are closer friends or not, if they are truly in your workplace or in your vocational, occupational spectrum, there's just going to be a closeness. There's going to be a feeling of harmony and camaraderie. And you know what, Banshee, that sounds about right. I can't remember and of course this year could be different, but I can't remember a single going back to work after New Year's where people didn't want to say Happy New Year, shake hands with people, wish the best. It really was about engendering harmony and trust, and I think that's the hallmark of the card in a way.
So will there be forward or backward movement or no movement at all for air signs this week? Maybe that is an office romance, Mr. O.
Oh, dear.
We have the devil.
Well, in some ways it looks like a stand aside, or not a stand aside, but sort of like a neutral position. It's like it's not really moving forward or backward. It may be a stasis of sorts.
Yeah, it's kind of a stasis of sorts, like maybe just trapped by the circumstances we're dealt with this week, I mean, some people are getting stimuluses that will help them out somewhat, but it's not enough. And others, businesses are going to be applying for loans and stuff. And so right now it might be a very stationary period as everything, you're feeling kind of stuck. between things right now.
Well, the devil card often is aligned with Capricorn.
Yeah, that's
and, you know,
true.
he is an old goat, you know, on occasion. But the idea, I think, is also, too, that there's sort of like a sense of the business that Capricorn provides with people that is here with this. So this idea is that maybe things are just going to hold steady because there's sort of a business spin on this. Don't overspend, don't underspend. Let's just keep our hands at the rudder and keep going.
Right, you're going to be tempted, you know, obviously the devil's here, so you're going to be tempted to maybe overspend or overextend yourself in some ways, and not a good idea right now. Not a good idea.
Yeah, just kind of hold back for a little bit.
So basically it's about being in command and control and delegating and being a firm leader and trying to navigate these rough waters right now because things are not normal.
Shifting grounds.
Rest assured that, you know, this is a good week to forge relationships of all sorts in the business world.
Right, people will be your allies.
Yes. However, do be aware, you know, don't overextend yourself. Don't tempt yourself with unnecessary spending at this time.
Right, just hold on. Don't take this next week as an aberration. It may just be a holding pattern for now.
That's what we have for you, air signs. Good luck with that.
Alrighty.
Hey, fire signs, what's cooking? Woohoo! All right, we've got Mars going into Taurus, which is interesting for my fellow Aries. All right, I'm going to give it to you to shuffle. Although I'll give it to you next time first so I can cover you.
So if you just happened upon us, don't forget to check out our other content. And also, we do live streaming twice a week. That information will be available in a little bit. So you can check us out. We're usually on Thursday nights and Sunday afternoons. Eastern Standard Times apply. And we do short free readings for whoever's there when we call their name. So it is a little bit of a waiting list.
Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, and hope to see you sometime on our show.
All right, so fire signs.
Okay, fire signs. Your focus for the week.
The Eight of Swords.
The Eight of Swords upright. So, why do we feel trapped? Why are we trapping ourselves? Why are we stuck? Why do we feel stuck at the beginning of this week? Do we feel stuck by external circumstances? But if you look, there seems to be some space there between those swords that, you know, this person could sneak through. So I kind of get the feeling that that this is kind of
A semi-voluntary.
Yeah, I'm trying to say obstacles of your own making. You know, you're trapping yourself with, maybe it's your thoughts, your thought processes and patterns, some fears that you have of moving forward at this time.
Well, fire signs are usually dynamic enough to sort of see beyond these things, so it just could be some external forces. Maybe we're listening to other people's thoughts, and those are what are binding us, because maybe we're just more attentive to other people's concerns right now. And we need to break out of that, because we can't help anybody if we can't really help ourselves. So don't let other people's feelings trap you in, or other situations fence you in, because I get the feeling it could be some of that too.
Okay. So best to prepare for that focus. Well, how about that? How about the big guns here? Death. So basically you need to radically change your perspective. You know, you need to shake things up a little bit. You need to make some changes in the way you've done things, or maybe in the way you're thinking about things. You know, quit limiting your thought patterns. Quit limiting yourselves. It's time to break free from limitation.
This sounds like this would be an excellent time for you to really get into the spirit of transforming yourself. Start off small. Maybe if it's all about your work-related things, take some time to organize your desk or your workspace, whether it's at home or not. Do little things that will make you feel accomplished and like you are actually making change. And these will bolster your will so you can create greater change.
Maybe it's time to go back to school or take up a new course of study if you are a student. Maybe it's time to just radically alter your course. You know, Let's see if people will be helpful or hurtful in the week ahead, cooperative or conflict. Well, I think that people support you in making changes or looking or seeking out new opportunities for growth and happiness.
It may also be possible that maybe some folks you haven't heard from in a while, friends or otherwise, might be getting in touch with you. Wondering if maybe those represent possible business or opportunities for growthful things too.
Yeah, I wonder too if people around you might give you some constructive ideas, maybe give you some tips on what you could do to change things in your work life, your business life, or in your financial affairs. And finally, will there be forward or backward movement for you or no movement at all, fire signs? Well, we've got the King of Pentacles and he's reversed. I think there could be some losses this week due to maybe some lack of careful management of resources. You might make some mistakes. You might make some errors in judgment here that will affect you financially. So be careful if you're moving your money, from stocks or whatever investments that you have. Kind of lay low, I would say, because that is not a good sign for that sector of, the material world.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if maybe it's also the idea that you're just not quite as focused on your business or material matters this week, and that you might be likely to be distracted in certain ways. And so, like Banshee says, if you can wait a little bit to address certain issues, you may want to.
So let's look at this again. We have the Eight of Swords as your focus, and it's kind of like feeling trapped, either by circumstances or circumstances of your own making, and you just don't feel like you want to make a move at this time, because clearly you can. There's room to move out and break yourself free from these restrictions. And what could help you is considering making some radical changes in your life or in your outlook and your perspective. Maybe some radical changes in what you're doing to manage your money and investments. If you're a student or thinking of going back to school, taking up a new course of study, maybe choosing a different career is a possibility. Also, people will be providing you with new opportunities for growth and advancement. They may give you some tips, or they'll be very supportive in what you're trying to do to, make yourself feel more happy, in your material world. Ultimately, though, you have to be careful of the decisions you make. As in regards to finances as money, I would lay low with any kind of movement of money in this week ahead.
And I would have to agree with that. This is a week maybe for thinking about things. The swords and the scythes and stuff like that seem to add a little weight towards the idea that some of these are perceptual things that you should try to think about the various ramifications.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what we have for you, fire signs. And I'm going to hand this to you. It is time for the water signs. And Mr. Water here, Mr. O, he can shuffle for them first.
And so those water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces.
Indeed they are.
We're the fluid ones, but that doesn't always mean that it works out for the best.
You're all wet.
We take the shape.
I love water signs. Come on now.
Well, some of your best friends have been water signs.
That is true. Mm-hmm. Pisces.
Me.
For Pisces. Well, of course, present and company included. All right, your focus for the week ahead. We got another king water signs, and it's also reversed. We have the King of Swords for the water signs as the focus. So either you're hesitating to make some important decisions, or you're just not, you really aren't thinking clearly about what path you need to take in this week ahead. So maybe you're having a little trouble and struggle, water signs, coming out of this holiday weekend, and you're just not ready to make any kind of big moves.
I don't know if it's just because you're mentally not quite up to date. I think it could also just be too that there's a little bit of an attitude here too that maybe you're just a little bit divisive for some reason or another. Like maybe you don't like what's coming on your plate there. The decisions or kind of things that you have to make are just not enthralling you, or maybe there's a little bit of dread for particular ones if they're too personal, that kind of thing. But in general, you are basically avoiding or not able to make some decisions that you may need to.
So how can you best prepare for this focus? Get out of that maybe in some way. Well, it's interesting. I think it's paying attention to your resources and not maybe gains so much as what you have accumulated. Your wealth at the moment, and looking at your resources and examining them, and also playing it kind of low with them. And obviously if you are uncertain about what to do, you just shouldn't make a hasty decision just to make a decision. You should think about it a bit and think about what's at stake.
Well, this could be indicating perhaps that whatever these resources are, whether they're stocks or whether they're other kinds of resources, you are wanting to be a little protective of them. Maybe now is not the time to make certain investments, and that could just be things like buying certain furniture items. Maybe you realize that if you wait maybe another week or so, there might be more better sales, New Year's sales or things like that. So it really is, I think, about conservatorship of some of your resources, because you're looking at this as really, in a way, the beginning of a long, cold winter. Even if it's not going to be cold in your area, it's just that whole symbolic thing about January being a colder month, a deader month, a less active month. There's a lot of things that are going on, and you want to make sure you make it to the spring.
And water signs, for those of you in business and retail, Christmas is over. And, it was definitely not a Christmas like a normal Christmas, so profits may not be the same. And right now, I think as we're getting out of that cycle and with the pandemic going on, it's still going to be very hard for you. So you got to maintain and manage your resources wisely.
Good point.
So, okay, how about people? Will people help or hurt you in this week ahead? Well, look at this. Where you are the King of Swords, reversed, here in your environment and the people around you, you have the Queen of Swords upright. So maybe there is some people you can rely on here to assist you in the decision-making process. Don't hesitate to seek advice, from other people in your field or, in the management field, financial management field, who could help you. Make decisions that are well thought out. If you are confused, seek somebody out who can help you.
This card seems to resonate to me to a kind of personality that, even if they're not necessarily judgmental personality, they are an orderly person. This is a person with a reasoned mind, a rational mind. And so that too are the qualities that you're looking for in helpers around you this week, people who maybe can know your situation and give you good advice.
And balance this out.
Absolutely.
Wow, okay. And it's another sword. Isn't that
and
funny?
It's the balance one.
Yeah, and so where will you be by week's end, you guys? It's the Two of Swords water signs upright. And so I feel like it's kind of, you don't gain, you don't lose. You kind of stay where you are and you're maintaining. And, maybe in this kind of environment right now with so much uncertainty, that's not a bad thing.
This seems to be the card summing it up, is saying that really with all these swords, this is a time to really kind of analyze things mentally. So just do some review work, because I think it's really important for you to understand things. It's always possible that there's something under the surface, maybe that's brought out a little bit by this one, things that you need to discern. So take some time this week to analyze that.
Yeah, and so basically, the focus is that you're unfocused this week. You're unable to make decisions or not willing to make decisions for whatever reasons here. You feel maybe very uncertain and uncomfortable. And so therefore you really, to prepare for that, you really need to take into account, what's at stake here. Everything that you've accumulated so far, or maybe, the fact that, things things are very tight right now, so you need to manage your resources wisely and think about that, and what your lack of decision making could do one way or another to this nest egg here. And finally, or I shouldn't say finally, but there is somebody in your environment, whether it's financial advisor, whether it is a real estate agent if you're working on property issues, or if it's somebody in your line of work who might be able to lend you a hand and some support in making these decisions. Ultimately, you stay kind of in the same place you were when the week started. There's no gains, there's no losses, but it's kind of a tense balance, and probably come next week, that's just going to have to move, water signs.
Well, in addition to all this, I think it would be worth noting that water signs in a broad level are more people of their emotional feelings, and most of these cards are suggesting this is the week for water signs to maybe not be so emotional or feeling oriented, but really address the issues and really give them considerable thought and weight as to what you're doing here. All right.
So that's what we have for you, water signs, this week. Good luck with that. We're moving on to my friends, the earth signs.
Earth signs. Earth signs are
Taurus,
Virgo,
and Capricorn. We share moon in Capricorn.
Which is why we had to do that together.
Yes.
Or just because we're silly.
And we didn't plan that.
No. Much of what we do is not planned.
Spontaneous.
Oh my goodness, I think we're channeling a former president.
Oh dear. All right, let me get you to shuffle, Mr. O, for our friends, the earth signs.
Righty, and that will finish up my 2-week guest star appearance.
I'll miss you.
Yeah, well, I'll be right over there doing the production work. But seriously, though, folks, if we get some feedback that says we should do this more often, guest on each other's shows, you never know. We'll listen to your honest feedback. We might ignore it, though, but we'll listen to it.
You are being silly. Okay. So,
Earth signs.
Your focus earth signs for the week ahead. Well, look at that. It's a 3 of Wands upright. Waiting, waiting, waiting. You're waiting for something to happen or develop. You're feeling pretty confident about it, but you're just still waiting and hopeful, if nothing else, that something is going to happen.
You expect your ships to come in. This may be something that you have been planning for. You may have a sense that it's coming sooner than not, but you don't know exactly when. However, you do more or less expect good news, more or less on the horizon.
Indeed. Okay, how best can you prepare for this focus? It's the 9 of Swords, and it is upright. Well, I think how you can, I guess how you can best prepare for this is to find some perspective. Maybe you've suffered some losses in recent times, and, that you have found it to be very distressing. Maybe in a real physical sense, you've had to do with less. And so really kind of try to maintain perspective here, though, just because you've lost before does not mean that this is going to, not turn out for you. Try to remain positive and hopeful.
Well, I'm sort of seeing a connection between these two cards because this is saying this is something that we think we're getting or we're waiting for, and that's our focus. And then this is how we can prepare for that. And maybe that preparation is in the 9 of Swords, the idea that there are some concerns there that are not immediate to us, but maybe those concerns have that impact here. So maybe, although the traditional meaning says maybe we're worried about something we shouldn't be, maybe this is saying what is being worried about is not immediate to you, but possibly has impact on what you're waiting for. Does that kind of make sense to you?
It's a little obtuse, but it makes a certain sense.
I thought that's why you asked me to be on the show.
For your obtusity?
Over-omnificent obtusity.
Yes, I need less clarity.
But so what I'm saying is that maybe the best way you prepare is thinking about all the things that you normally wouldn't think about, the concerns that aren't normally yours.
And maybe how you've prepared for this is you have considered, some of the lessons from your losses in the past. You have taken them into consideration in preparation for this happening. I don't know. Let's think about it as we view the rest of the cards here. So what about people this week? Will they help or hurt? Will there be conflict or cooperation? Well, I think somehow you're definitely going to be mingling more with people this week. This is not a week where you will be on your own. You're going to be out and networking or communicating with people and possibly sharing, maybe sharing some of the knowledge you've had, in working towards this goal, some of the hardships along the way with others and, getting advice or at least, gaining their understanding or cooperation.
I think the Hermit release sort of represents a basic paradox of a sort, because it may be that others you might want to help, but maybe what you find out is that, or you might want their help, but what you might find is that really you have more to give them than they have to give you. That maybe
I can see that.
There's an inversion going on here, that you want that help, but maybe they need more help than you do, would be another way to say that too. I don't know. I'm just sort of flipping out here.
I think I like that. We'll go back to that. Well, but ultimately, will there be forward or backward movement or no movement at all for you Earth signs? And we have the Queen of Wands reversed. And the boy,
wow! Wow! There's my little black cat there.
Well, it looks like there could be some losses this week. I think this is, to me, it looks like business downturns, but it could be stocks. I sense more in terms of business, though, that maybe expected contracts that, you were hoping to be signed, or, extra business coming in does not materialize. And that kind of goes back to this waiting thing here.
Yeah, and I get the feeling, and it's a wand too, of course, but I get the feeling too, and there's a wand with the Hermit because he has a staff, but I get the feeling maybe that what this could also mean is that you're not looked at as well as you want to be by other people, that maybe you're hoping to have sort of a better social look from somebody, a higher up. Maybe it's about a promotion, or maybe it's just about your placement.
Okay.
And so this sort of feels like maybe you're being slighted, you're being ignored, or you're being marginalized by somebody else around you. Maybe it's work, maybe it's not work. But I just sort of feel like the movement is sort of saying, like, you don't feel like you were appreciated as much, or you don't feel like what you tried to offer was accepted as well.
All right, so let's recap this for the Earth signs. It looks as though you're waiting for something to happen or develop. Maybe something you've already set in. Obviously, it's something you've already set in motion. And you do feel optimistic at the outset. That's the focus. You're really hoping this is going to come through. But, and there are worries. I'm going to say maybe, you feel like you've dealt with some of these worries, or you need to deal. Did you cover everything? Maybe I'm starting to get another epiphany on this one, Mr. O. Maybe you're kind of fretting through the week that you didn't do enough, or you left something undone. You're just worried if this is really going to happen or develop.
That's a good point. I think I feel that now too.
Yeah. And also with the Hermit reversed, I think that what he said really holds water to me. Is like, it's not so much that, people are going to be there for you this week, but people have a lot to learn from you this week, and they may need you more than you need them. But ultimately, through all of this, it looks like whatever you've been waiting for here, there's going to be some setbacks. There's going to be some little setbacks. And maybe, as he said, for some of you as well, often this card is kind of an aggressive energy kind of card. And I get the feeling that maybe for some of us, it just could be an indication of some office politics swirling around this whole thing here. People kind of backbiting or working against the goals because they have their own interests in mind.
Well, maybe some people are coming back to work after being off for a while for whatever reasons, and so it's a chance to reestablish dominance again for some people.
Yeah, and take
You never
control.
know, right?
Wow, Earth signs. Well, I wish you the best with that, and wish I had a better, reading for you this week. But stay tuned. It's only 1 week and only one snapshot in time.
So this will be the week of New Year, and I am very happy to have guest starred on Banshee's show, and I hope Banshee felt the same way about being on my show.
Well, I do like to dabble in the love department once in a while, Mr. O. Hey,
right,
guys,
yes.
It's been great spending the time with you again and giving you some business advice. Take care, and I will see you next week. Same time, same place. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, everybody.